thanks for joining me for the first episode of Coffee and Grief. So the first thing I want to do is talk about these two photos right here, because there's a very specific reason why I chose to film this in front of those two photos. The first photo at the top is of the cast of Party of Five. It's a 90s/2000s TV show. If you're from my generation, you'll probably remember it from back in the day. It was about a family, a group of brothers and sisters who were coping with the loss of their parents after a tragic car accident. And I was lucky enough to get their signature on the photo, but the photo means so much more than an autograph. It has sentimental meaning because the show helped me so much as a child when I lost my dad unexpectedly at 10 years old. And it really helped me get through it by watching it every week and just not feeling alone. So I definitely wanted to put that up there, and when I see it, it just brings back that comfort that I had from them. And then the second photo, of course, is the cute photo with my mom and dad. It was from one Halloween when I was a baby dressed as a dog, and it just makes me smile, so I wanted to include that there too. Please excuse my not perfect sound in these videos. I'm working on getting a microphone for future videos, so thank you for being patient with me for that. So I'm here and I'm thinking about anniversaries of passings. June 16th happens to be the 30th anniversary of my dad's passing. In the grand scheme of things, time is non-existent, time is not real. It's just a way to organize things, but all we have is the present, really. There's no future, there's no past, but 30 years, in some ways, like so many people say, in some ways it does seem like yesterday, and then in other ways it seems a long time ago. When I think about that horrible day when he unexpectedly passed away, I think about me as 10 years old, sitting in the hospital waiting room, and just intuitively knowing that things were never going to be the same, and just fearing death, even though I really couldn't fully comprehend what that meant at the time. And just remembering the doctor coming out and saying, "We tried everything, he died," and he died kind of echoed in my mind as a kid. And I was sitting there with, a couple of close family members and seeing my mom's devastating reaction and just not knowing how to react myself and just staying within myself. And it's so crazy because those two words, he died, it means the death of a person, right? But at the same time, those two words are forever changing my life. And losing someone at such a young age too, it really affects your mind in a different way than if you were an adult. I've gone to years of therapy about this, and especially a little girl losing her dad, her protector, it was a crazy experience for me, life-altering, affected my adult life a lot. And you think, you're resilient as a kid, you'll be sad at first, but you'll get over it, you'll do this, but that's couldn't be further from the truth. Death, especially at that young age, I was 10 years old, can really affect you your whole life because your brain's still developing, you're still learning mechanisms, coping mechanisms, confidence, all this stuff that can really affect you. And when something that tragic and unexpected happens, and the one person that you were probably closest to in your immediate family at the time, who you trusted the most, just is gone without warning, and no real explanation except for, oh, he had a heart attack, things happen. I don't think I could really comprehend all of that loss, because you're not just losing a person, my dad, but you're losing, for a child that young, you're losing future experiences with that person that means so much to you. Anything that happens, anytime you have a big achievement, you graduate school, you get married, you have a kid, you get a great job, you travel and see awesome places you know that they would have loved to go to. You get your own little apartment and you want to share it with your family. Like, those are experiences I'll never have with my dad. I'll never get to see his reaction with things. People may think kids, oh, they're resilient, they'll get over it fast, but they may look like they're getting over it, but they're absorbing all of that loss and what that means, and that's part of their development, and it really does affect their personality and things like that. When you go through something that traumatic, it doesn't go away. It's not just in your mind, it's in your soul. It's in, you feel all those feelings that you felt that day, and you remember, and you try to heal, but it's almost impossible to heal at times because, time goes on, it gets a little easier to cope with this new life, and because I was so young, I didn't really have a life yet. So I don't know what it's like to have my dad as in my adult life, but that doesn't mean that it's easier. In fact, it means that it just feels like there's a gaping hole, there still every time. Then of course, Father's Day was yesterday, and June can be a really tough month for me regarding my dad because his birthday's at the end of the month. He passed away on the 16th, and then Father's Day just happens to fall on the anniversary of his passing during some years, and that's happened a few times since his passing. So when that happens, it's like double the heartbreak, double the torture. Anniversaries are weird because people don't know how to react to them, and it's the worst, if not the worst day of your life, but it's an ordinary day for everyone else, and you don't always get that comfort. You don't always get that phone call of people remembering and saying, how are you? And then holidays, it can be the same thing. If someone's celebrating with their own families, and in particular in my case, I don't have my own family, so if Father's Day comes up and you have family members who are celebrating other fathers, they don't always remember that you're mourning the loss of your own dad on that same day, and you don't always get that support that you feel you need. And I don't think it's intentional, but I think the more open we are, the more vocal we are about our grief journeys, maybe that can change, and people will realize, hey, that person does need support. Even though it's been 30 years, that person does need support, because that will never go away in your mind. I'll never forget that day. So I tend to keep quiet on the anniversary days. I celebrate more on the birthdays, which I will get to at a later episode, but the best you can do is just try to help others, I think, and just remember, I just remember my dad loved life, and he deserves to be remembered, and he always will be. What do you guys think about anniversaries? What do you guys do to cope with them? I want to thank you guys for joining me for the first episode of Coffee and Grief. I hope I helped you just like you're helping me by listening to me, and I hope I catch you on the next one. And until then, take care.